If you're a motorcyclist and you like to camp, but you're not sure what knife you need to bring with you, got some options for you right here. Hey everyone, David C. Anderson here, coming at you from the KnifeCenter. Welcome to KniFAQ episode 260. I got it wrong last week, so I gotta make sure I get the right number this week. The series where I answer all your questions, sharp or dull. What we do is we pull your questions from ye old comments section below these videos, and then I try to answer them to the best of my ability while Thomas makes snarky comments behind the camera.
Pie.
We are going to be talking about food a little bit today.
I was talking circles.
Pie are round. Let's get into the first question, shall we? Which comes from RZV333. I have a question. Good. You've come to the right place. I travel on motorcycle, and I need a large knife for chopping, preparing fire, and food, and also for defense against wild animals, because here we are not allowed to carry any kind of firearms. Any suggestions? Those knives have to be light and strong at the same time. In my mind, 8 to 9 inches is the best usable size for my application, but I accept suggestions. Cool. I've got some suggestions for you, RZV. I had a kind of first initial reaction that fell outside your size range a little bit. So to kind of make sure I wasn't missing anything, I went through a bunch of 8 to 9 inch bladed stuff. So I've got a few options there to show you first, and then I'm going to tell you why I think my initial reaction was actually possibly a better solution. And these are good options for anyone, even if you're not a motorcycle camper, which kind of taking this this question along that route. This is the good large knife conundrum that a lot of us, whether we are required to face it or not, we enjoy thinking about the question. Here's two larger knives at first. First, the KnifeCenter A2 Wilderness. This is an 8-inch bladed knife with a VG10 core laminated blade, convex grind. It is very tough. It is pretty expensive. It's about a $400 knife, I will admit. But for its relatively compact silhouette, it's got some weight to it because you're dealing with that thicker blade here. I mean, that's it's about a 1/4 inch or so in thickness, 6 millimeters. Do the math. And that weight with the convex grind means it does hit pretty well for chopping. It is also, maneuverable enough to be a self-defense thing. Where it falls down a little bit is, I think, where all kind of 8 to 9 inch knives fall down is that food prep scenario. At least 8 to 9 inch outdoorsy knives. 8 to 9 inch chef knife is perfectly normal, of course. Especially one that has some chopping capability. Like large choppy knives don't necessarily do fine food preppy things as well as I would personally like in this scenario. And the reality is, you're going to be doing that food preppy stuff far more often than self-defensey stuff, most likely, and probably chopping too. Splitting wood, yeah, I could see that more being more often. Chopping, especially if you're going to improved campsites, might need it less than you might think. But again, I do have these two options for you. The A2 is really nice, and it is not super light. We're talking about 370 grams. Dang it, do the math there too. You have the weight in grams on this knife for some reason. But it is compact, like I said. The silhouette doesn't take up too much space in your saddlebags or whatever you're using to carry. It comes with a nice, very nice leather sheath here, in fact. Another option you could look at is bulkier. But it is less expensive, and that's the Essie Hungless 2. This is the smaller version of the classic Hungless. It comes with an 8 3/8 inch long blade. $205 for this knife, made in the USA. The steel's $10.95, so it's not a stainless, and the coating on here might drag a little bit on the food prep, but you could always strip that if you want, and with the high flat grind on this, combined with thinner steel than the KnifeCenter, means it could do slicey food preppy stuff a little better. Actually, I'd say a lot better than the KnifeCenter. And you've got a lengthy handle there, so you can choke back, do a little more of that chopping stuff, but it's nimble enough. You could certainly do the smaller carving stuff that you might want to do, although you didn't actually mention that in your use case scenario. Certainly splits wood very well also. Comes with a very high quality Kydex sheath, as you can see right here. Molle webbing on the nylon attachment on the back. Velcro here so you can take it on or off a belt really easily. Retention snap. Essie does a really, really good job with these hungless sheaths. However, I think I personally would go with the initial thing I was thinking of, which would be the Becker BK7. It's a little bit shorter. We're talking a 7-inch blade here, but it is significantly easier to carry. The weight of this knife, it's not necessarily heavy feeling for the length. We're only talking just under 13 ounces for this knife, whereas the hungless, what is that? We're talking about closer to 20 ounces. And that's just for the knife, and it's got a heavier sheath than the Becker as well. This is not going to chop as well, but it's not as bad as you might think in comparison. There's enough of a beak at the back of the Becker handles. You can choke back really nicely. You can hit okay with this as a chopper. And then in everything else you're going to be doing, it's going to be way more pleasant than these larger knives. Self-defense, it's way more nimble, way more agile. Food prep, I would rather prep food with this knife than any of the other two. Especially, hold it in a pinch grip here. It balances pretty well. You can get a pretty good slice. We're talking 3/16 thick on the steel and a high flat grind. It's going to work pretty darn well. Splitting wood, you can see this is my personal copy. I've split a fair bit of wood with this. You can see where I've batoned through and worn the coating away. Very durable knife. Light enough for its size, but it's still okay at a chopper. It's not, a primary chopper, but it does the job pretty well. And it's the most affordable of these three I've shown you so far, about $145 right now. Also, made in the USA. What's it? Chopping, preparing fire and food, defense against wild animals. This would be my guy here. Yeah, I'll show you the sheath. I haven't shown you the sheath yet. Here it is. It's nylon, Molle on the back, Velcro here, retention strap. It's also got a pouch here on the front where you can add some extra little goodies here, survival stuff, camping stuff. It's even got a slot for the Remora Becker knife that you could slot right in there as well. I would check that out. I have one more dark horse kind of suggestion here. This is also one of from my own collection, the Gerber Versafix machete. Going a little bit larger again. This is a 9-inch blade, but it is less heavy than the hungless, and it is very affordable. It's about $45 most of the time. And I would go with this standard version versus the upgraded version. The upgraded version has, in my mind, like a more complicated sheath, and it's also got some cutouts in the blade, which lighten it, yes, but also kind of weaken it in some ways. I would go with this one. It's thinner steel than the hungless. It chops pretty well due to the size and shape of the forend here. It's not as slicey for the food prep, but it could do okay. But if you really want something that's a longer chopper than the BK7, I might lean towards this for this particular scenario more than the hungless or the Feldknieven, as good as those knives are. As you can see, I've beaten this one up pretty good as well. In fact, pretty dinged up the edge pretty good. I should probably clean that up before I use it again.
What kind of a knife guy are you?
A knife guy with kids who take up a lot of my time. Fair?
You have your blade grinding setup.
Yeah, I know, but like the garage is a mess because it's full of kid stuff right now. Anyway.
Kids in that house, jeez.
Excuses, I know. Rubbery handle. Yeah, not going to do the food prep as well, but if you really want something with that, that more reach, maybe check it out, especially if you're looking for something affordable. Here's the sheath. Spine draw and retention snap here, or retention Velcro loop here. Very simple, but very effective. Like I said, $45 regular price for that. Hope those help, those suggestions for you. All right, next question comes from Silentone. Learning so much from your Q&A. Thanks. You're welcome, and thank you.
Sorry.
Be nice, be nice. My question, what are metal bolsters on folding knives for? On kitchen knives, they affect the balance and protect the leading edge of the handle. Is it the same for folding knives? If so, why are there folding knives with bolsters made of carbon fiber or G10 in contrasting colors? Good question. This is a Wusthof Icon 6-inch chef's knife with a minimal bolster. And yeah, you're absolutely right. it affects the balance of a knife. Usually you see them on Western style chef's knives as opposed to the Eastern and Asian style of knives. And sometimes the bolster comes all the way down to the edge here. I don't really like that because as you sharpen the knife, that's going to affect the cutting board contact. I like what we got going on with the Wusthof right here. But yeah, the balance, absolutely. Although these shorter icons are a little handle heavy, I will say that. Now when it comes to folding knives, bolsters are made a little bit differently than this. As you can see, this is integral to the entire piece of steel right here. A bolster on a folding knife, especially like a traditional slip joint folding knife, which is where I'm going to start the conversation, is also designed to protect the handle, very similarly to what you said, and also to bolster the strength of the pivot. Barlow's especially took advantage of this back in the day. It may not be the case anymore, but traditionally, Barlow's were like the cheapest pocket knives you could buy, and they often used the cheapest handle material, the cheapest wood that the manufacturer could get a hold of. And therefore, the bolster played a really important role in, giving strength, protecting the wood in the area where it needed that strength the most. You're gonna have stress from the pivot opening and closing, and protect the edges from banging into things. Although the rear end of Barlow's often weren't protected. Obviously nowadays, Barlow's are made just as nicely and as expensively as any other slip joint pattern, but you can still get an advantage of that handle protection from materials like this, being bone in this case. On this nice Remington right here. What is this exactly? The 2022 Trail Guide Barlow right here. $80 knife. Very cool knife. So yeah, you're definitely going to protect the leading edge of the bone from getting chips and that sort of thing. It's not really doing much for balance in this case, but it's more to strengthen and protect that handle material there. In more modern knives, and I should have gotten a carbon fiber or G10 bolster here for you. Yes, they can increase strength in that particular area, but I think it's less the case of that's what they're going for, and it's more something that looks good. I'll give you an example here. The Riot-made Boker Urban Barlow, designed by Brad Zinker. Modernified Barlow right here. This is a KnifeCenter exclusive with K390 steel on sale for $200 right now, by the way. It's a titanium handle with integral bolsters. So construction-wise, it's kind of similar actually to that chef knife style right there. But this is how you get, theoretically at least, a stronger pivot area if you want to use something like titanium and still have handle inlays with different color. So you can imagine, this thick bit of titanium right here is very tough. But it could just be a full titanium handle too, and it wouldn't change here. So the bolster here is less about being a bolster and more about we carved away some of the knife to add decorative elements here. You know what I mean? So yeah, still very strong, certainly, but more of a historical style thing. Other things like the Benchmade Mini Crooked River or this KnifeCenter exclusive CJRB Echo, they already have full structural liners, and then the bolsters are simply placed on top right here. Now you could make an argument like on the Crooked River right here that the aluminum that they use is going to be stronger than the laminated wood that they use for the handles. But you're already dealing with heat-treated steel liners here, giving plenty of support in terms of a modern context, I would say. Again, it's kind of a decorative stylistic thing, more so than a strength thing, I think. And that's certainly the case with the titanium or the carbon fiber or G10 bolsters that you mentioned. Same thing here, full length liners. We've got titanium bolsters here and micarta handles. They're two separate pieces, so it's not doing the same thing as a traditional bolster. Really cool looking though, like all very cool looking. Even bringing it all the way back around to kitchen knives, like the modern Microtech Signature Series or any of the Microtech kitchen knives. This happens to be the Signature Series of the 4.2 inch Santoku. They've got versions with full G10 handles, and they've got versions with titanium bolsters. It's a fully separate piece. Again, a little bit handle heavy for the size. It's less for balance and more for, it looks awesome. And this is a really awesome looking kitchen knife, isn't it? I think so. Anyway, hope that helps. All right.
Bolsters your knowledge.
And I hope it bolsters your knowledge, yes. To be a bulwark against ignorance. It started with a B, like bolster.
Other words that start with B.
Careful. All right, now we get to the lightning round for today. Wool Socks asks, hey DCA, I've noticed that all of the folding food prep style of knives tend to go with the highest level of corrosion resistance, or at least place it at the top of the priority list. However, many chefs prefer a carbon steel blade and prioritize high hardness or ease of sharpening. So why do we only see the EDC food prep knives with exotic premium super stainless blade steels? We do see some of those for sure, like this Liang Ma cuff right here, folding food prep knife with magnet cut steel for $300. We've also got some not as premium steels right here, like the Civivi Hid from Ostap Hell, $85 for a 14C28 end blade. Both very highly stainless and both very tough steels. And that's where I think, kitchen food prep folders, those should be the two things you prioritize, stainlessness and toughness, because I think those make the most difference in food prep. Extra edge retention from magnet cut is certainly nice. But why don't we see more carbon steel folding food prep knives? The same reason we don't see as many modern carbon steel folding knives in general. These things live in pockets, and stainless steel, doesn't have to worry as much about sweat and humidity and all that sort of thing. And just the modern market would rather have stainless in a folder, by and large, especially modern folders. That's why. At least I think so. Next question comes from Hedijin9349.
The others were taken.
9348 and everything prior was already taken. That's correct. Hello. I search for a small rescue tool and it seems impossible to find a decent one. I travel by motorcycle, another motorcycler today, and more times I arrive first to an accident. Some suggestions? When I mean small, I'm thinking to a sub 3-inch blade with a glass breaker and a seatbelt cutter. Thanks. I forgot about the bladed requirement there at the end, actually. But I'm going to stick with what I was saying. Rather than going with what you think of as a good compact rescue knife in general, get yourself a good compact knife that you like. There's plenty. And a small rescue tool to go with it. I am a huge fan of the Rescue Me keychain tool. And I was going to say, do bikes still, most modern bikes turn on with a key, or do they have push button now? I don't even know.
I don't have a single car that has push button.
Fair enough. This lives on your keychain, and it is quick detachable. You can grab it, yank it off, the keys stay where they are. And this little implement is awesome. And it's like, what, $13 nowadays? Yeah, $13. You've got a spring-loaded window punch and a seatbelt cutter right here. And it weighs next to nothing as well. Then you can really go after what your real preferences are on the knife you want to carry and carry this as well. In fact, this is something I recommend anyone who travels by car or bus or train for that matter, have one of these on you, man. It weighs next to nothing. It costs next to nothing. And this really is a super life-saving device. This is mine. I had to buy a new one. This is the third one I've had over the years. The first one, after about a dozen years on my keychain, kind of got banged up enough that the spring-loaded punch just was loose. It broke. The second one actually got taken by TSA, which is a shame because this is technically a TSA-compliant tool, and I have taken it onto airplanes in the U.S. many, many times, including had it looked at a few times, and it was always let through until that one time it wasn't, which is unfortunate. But at the end of the day, the TSA agent at the security checkpoint does have the final say, even though it's compliant. But at least it's only $13. I was able to buy a new one. Check out the Rescue Me. It is really cool. A possible alternate that's a little more money, but maybe a little cooler, although I'd argue maybe even slightly less effective. I don't know. The SOG Rapid Rescue series of knives. This is about $25. And as you can see, it's clam packed, so I will show you the picture on the back. You've got a seatbelt cutter right here, more of an exposed hook blade as opposed to the buried hook blade right here, and a tungsten glass breaker here at the end. It's not spring-loaded, so you're going to have to put some more force behind it, so gloves would be more important with something like this. But that could be a decent option as well. And this is something that could even fit in like, well, either one of these could fit in the 5th pocket of a pair of blue jeans or that sort of style of pants if you're wearing those. But keychain style especially, I think, is a really great thing for the Rescue Me right there. You could also get like a pair of Leatherman Raptors or something like that. It's a little bulkier, but that's also an option. Hope that helps. Well, now we come to our finalist question of the day, which is, of course, our most serious question of the day, which comes from Twice Born by Grace. Most serious question. What knife would the Butcher from the Diablo game series carry? Man, you're just trying to get me to show the carcass splitter now, aren't you? Well, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to show its little baby brother, the K-Knight Cleaver from Condor. This thing's so cool. This is also mine. I've only chopped a couple times with it, but I love this thing. It's like 140 bucks. Micarta, 1075. Awesome shape. That's what he would carry. For all your butchering needs, whether they be flesh or campfire.
Something more serious.
I'm going to be using this as my new campfire dedicated splitter tool around the house. I just haven't done any campfires really since I got it. So
get the kids back in the house, clean out your
that's right. But yeah, that's why it doesn't have more marks on it yet. But man, this is it's awesome. Anyway, that's all we've got time for today, folks. Keep your questions coming. Now I want to. The carcass splitter is right there. I could pick it up, but
you've already done the job.
Keep your questions coming, folks. Let me know if you have any alternate suggestions for anyone of the questioners out there. Mainly our rescue guy, our 2 motorcycle guys, our rescuer and our camper. If you got options you prefer, drop them in the comments. And if you want to get your hands on any of these, well, first, submit your questions if you got them, if I didn't say that already. But if you do want to get your hands on any of these, check out the links in the description that'll take you to KnifeCenter.com. Don't forget about our long-running Knife Rewards program or Sezzle options at checkout if you want to break things into smaller payments. That's all for now. I'm David C. Anderson from the Knife Center. That's Thomas behind the camera. We're signing off. See you next time.